I think we'll. I can see your settings being toggled here, so I think we're good.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, Katie.
I'm gonna close this. I'm sorry, my room is disgusting.
There's a few people who might be online who don't have audio or video connected right now.
Gotcha.
Katie, how's it going?
I'm good. Everything's good. Just kind of wrapping it up now. Wrapping everything up now. So, yeah, everything's good though. How are you guys?
Doing well.
It's
that time of year.
Yeah. Awesome.
Brian and I were just talking about how fast things go break.
Yeah, this year has sped by.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Right, Katie?
Totally. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe it. It feels like it's still the fall. But
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And these sudden 70-degree days just make it seem like summer just showed up and everything's done. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Everybody's outside.
No, it's so true. I feel like everyone is like, yeah, everyone is playing outside on the Presky lawn and everything, so it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Welcome everyone who's on the call. If you're having issues, feel free to send out a chat or email, and we can help troubleshoot real time before we get started.
Sorry, I was just writing a few things down. Oh.
Hey, Damien.
Hello, Damien.
Hey, Damien.
Hello. What are you guys doing?
Good.
It's springtime. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
How are things in Philly?
Good. We had our first beautiful day in the past week today, so it was really nice. Warm weather again. It's been rainy all week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've had some similar experience in the Berkshires.
Not surprising.
Yeah, nice.
How much time do you guys have left?
We actually finished classes yesterday. Yesterday was the last day. And then finals are next week through next Monday through the following Tuesday. So May 9th we finish.
That's early.
Yeah, it is pretty early.
Do you have
I'm not
exciting?
You seem supernaturally calm heading into finals.
I still have a few days. I haven't wasted them yet.
That's the curse of good weather at this time of year, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Brian just cloned him.
I did?
There's two of them, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sure, Aditya. Can you hear us? I know I see you on the attendee screen. I'll make sure you guys are all set.
Yes,
I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Yay.
Welcome.
Awesome. Also, Brian, I just want to check. Are you able to change the screen sharing, or since we're running through the same account?
Yes, I believe. Yeah, I can do it
Because
as well.
it says right now, waiting to view Kinetic Global Brian Jones screen. So I think you right now are the one that has the ability to switch it around.
Got it. Yep, I can sit here.
Okay, perfect.
As we're going, if you can give me a heads up on when I should switch, then I'll move it over.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll just have when each of the teams present, we'll just swap it over.
Welcome everyone who just joined. If you have any issues with connectivity, send a chat or an email and we can help out real time. We'll get started probably in about 5 minutes. Hey, Matt.
Hey guys,
Thanks for joining.
you're welcome. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to hear about everybody's work.
So if you're on the call right now, but you haven't entered your name in, you should be able to click on click on the link that you are on for the call to add your name. I see there's a few people that haven't added their name yet.
Hi, this is Bob Eckert. I'm on the phone.
Hi, Bob.
How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Hey, Don.
Feel free also, if you want to use video, to show your face and use video as well. And you can do that while keeping yourself muted if you prefer that as well.
Wait, what'd you say, Jessica?
If you want to use video,
Yes,
to anyone who's
but
on the call and not using video, feel free. And if you want to use video and not planning on speaking, or you can mute yourself until you do speak, and vice versa.
It's maxed out on the video, the webcam.
Oh, it is. Oh,
So yeah,
okay. Well, I'd love
We
to
can
have
go
you.
on as we go. Well, we have sequences, so we don't all need to go on at the same time. We can toggle that.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we can just swap out our video kind of while each of the teams are presenting so that they can have the video on for them while they do their presentation.
Hi, this is Miaru. Can you hear us? Okay.
Hey, Miaru.
Okay, great.
Miaru, you can click on
Excited to be on this call.
We're excited to have you. You can click on the little video icon to make sure that your video is working.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm joined by Akil and Connor.
Hey.
My forehead is really shiny. Okay, let's go.
Madeline, is your audio working?
Hi. Yeah, if you can hear me, then it should be working.
Yep, we can hear you. Just wanted to check.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, I'm just not sure how I can add my name to the, like, so it's displayed the right way or something.
Let me see if I can edit it from our end.
Yeah, I was trying to look into that as well.
I think there should be a little down arrow on the far right of your name, and there should be a drop down that says mute me, and then that says edit name and email.
Wait, I'm looking for it.
Wow,
You're saying.
All right.
that was exciting.
All right. All right.
Someone's in a submarine.
Hello all, this is Jackie Lane. I've just been hanging out in the background. Good to see you and hear you.
I'm glad you could join us.
Me too.
Great. Jess, do you think we should get started?
Yeah, let's start. Okay, so thank you everyone so much for being here. We're here to share all of our work this year and to learn from each other's research, design, and implementation. We've been so excited by all of the amazing progress you've made and by your passion for affecting change in your communities. So thank you again. In this call, we're going to hear from Don McKinnon, who will share some words with us, and then we'll hear from a few of our schools, Williams, Penn, NYU, and USC, on the work they've accomplished this year and how they overcame different challenges to create really positive impact in their local communities. We're really proud of all of our schools, and we want to take this opportunity to say how impressed we are. Congratulations to you all on your hard work. We will finish the call with Brian, who will share some announcements regarding the rest of the year and for next year. And we're going to hear from Don next. Don McKinnon is a Kinetic Global Board member. He is the co-founder of Milk, a cultural creation app and website. Previously, Don served as Vice President of Music and Entertainment at Starbucks, and he also helped build Project Red, which is the organization founded by Bono, dedicated to defeating AIDS, where Don oversaw Red's entertainment initiatives. Don and the rest of our Phenomena board have helped us shape Kinetic this year, and so we're really happy to hear from him. Don?
Hey, I'm having trouble getting my webcam to work, so I feel terrible. But
No
wait, where we
worries.
go? Oh wait, hold on. The organization share my webcam. No, I think it's all my fault.
We can hear you perfectly, so
Okay.
we're happy to listen.
So I will be quick, but when Jessica asked me to do this, I thought like it could be a nightmare to hear me drone on and on because you're all incredibly busy, reading Kierkegaard and all the other things you guys are doing. And one of the things I do think we as a group need to work on is making these calls snappier. But at the same time, I was excited about having an opportunity to sort of talk about why I personally am so excited about Kinetic. And sort of put into words like what went through my mind when Jessica and Brian walked into a little conference room at Williams maybe a year ago. When was that? I'm not actually sure when that was. I drove up to Williams one morning to talk to students, and then I met as a mentor with several teams that were competing in a business plan competition, and that's how I met Jessica and Brian. And at that point, it had been going at Williams for a few years, and I think it was at Brandeis. Is that right? But they had this vision to get Kinetic chapters going at more schools, and to me, that idea, the idea of smart people at lots of schools innovating together, basically like a geo-distributed think tank, was the thing that got me super excited, you know, and like, here we are. We're on a call with people from NYU and Penn, and you know, there's people at amazing schools across the land doing Kinetic. And I think, you know, but at the same time, I want to say that the core idea of what I loved, it wasn't just about a bunch of chapters working independently. Like, to me, the core kind of genius about Kinetic is about creating a network effect around innovating for social change. You know, to put it more simply, we're trying to build a model in which college students all over the country are innovating together. And we aren't quite there yet. You know, we're still just getting schools up and everyone's doing their own projects, and we're working, you know, in this call, and you know, we're all in this together, right? We're all sort of the founders of Kinetic, because this is the time where we're figuring out how to connect the dots across the schools, how to enable various people working on the same issue to not just learn from advisors, but to learn from each other. And you know, that's what's super exciting to me, is how do we allow people at various schools at the same time to be able to do their own thing, to bring their creativity and experimentation, but that work, their successes and their challenges, feeds back into the larger group and builds institutional knowledge that gets leveraged by others as we go. And so that's my obsession with Kinetic, is like, how do we stitch the islands together? How do we connect the dots? How do we build cumulative learning out of this dispersed innovation and work? And what's killer about that is, like, I don't think there's anyone really working on this specific thing, and this combination of, you know, this tension that runs through all efforts around social change, which are, you know, the tension between one-off innovation and uniformity for scaled impact. So just to give you like a complete oversimplification, that I'm, you know, you guys know more about what it's like to be on a student on a college campus, but I think, you know, my daughter is about to start at Skidmore next fall, and, you know, she has a choice. If she wants to change the world and make the world better, she kind of has a choice between two, you know, these are maybe extremes, but I don't think so. One is she could create her own innovation, which is she could create a club, start a club, and get some other people to do it, and pick a project and go do it. You know, like Jessica doing suspended groceries a long time ago, right? She could just do that all by herself. She would be in charge. She would pick the topic. She would pick the solution. She would implement it with more or less success. She would learn from her mistakes and victories. But the world beyond her actual effort wouldn't necessarily be impacted, right? So like in trendy kind of fast company jargon, that it's not scalable, right? But, you know, what was cool about it was she got to pick her own thing and drive her own innovation, do all that stuff. But it was an act, not a fulcrum, you know? And so I think if we look at the world, there's a lot of awesome individual one-off innovation happening that are scattered around. And but it's lacking connectivity and wider impact. And there's something extraordinarily inefficient in that, right? So that's one of Emma's choices. The other choice would be, you know, for her to choose a nationally scaled monolithic cause, right? She could join a PERG, she could do Teach for America when she graduates. There's these things where somebody started a long time ago and it has scaled. And in doing that, she feels the combined power of the network. She's driving real change, but she isn't really innovating, right? She's giving her time and energy, but she isn't necessarily able to bring her ideas and creativity. And so that is a long running challenge between sort of one-off innovation and scaled impact that has always been there at the heart of driving social change. And, you know, it's at the core and heart of the decisions you guys are going to make as you graduate, right? Some of you may say, oh, I could start my own company. And some of you will say, oh, but should I join a large company so that I learn, et cetera? But in social change, it's always been this huge challenge, right? I was part, you know, John F. Kennedy saying, ask not for what you can do for your country, right? The Peace Corps was essentially a large way of galvanizing a group of people to go do something. And I was actually, really quickly, I'll just tell you a little bit about my crazy experience, which isn't really that relevant, except it speaks to this. I was part of a really interesting initiative about going for scale, right? Which is I was an executive at Starbucks. I had taken my startup, which was my one-off innovation, and sold it to Starbucks to create larger scale. And one day Bono came from U2. You guys don't even know who Bono is, but he's used to be relevant.
Yes, we do.
We do.
He's that guy. Who's saying that? Who knows who Bono is? Okay. So he's the guy who fell off a bike last year. But essentially, Product Red was before, when he walked into, he basically arrived at Starbucks for a meeting with me and Howard Schultz. And at this moment, like when you guys hear Product Red, you're like, Jesus, Don, everything you're wearing and everything in your dorm room is giving back to something. But at that time, at that moment, there was basically Paul Newman salad dressing and maybe something else, right? But there wasn't Tom's shoes and there wasn't any of that stuff. And so this idea of, Bono saying, and at that moment, charity was a sad, non-empowering thing. It was, Bono was like, I'm a celebrity. I could go on Oprah once a year and tell a sad story and show this really sad movie and ask people to send $10 and people will sort of turn it off. And so Red, I'm going to just blur through this, but Red was an attempt to flip the narrative and to say, no, we're going to create a positive, cool brand that the most creative, that we will license. His thing was, I'm going to license this brand to the most amazing storytellers in the world, which he was like, that's Steve Jobs. I was with him 2 nights ago. It's Phil Knight from Nike, which is his word for Nike. And he was like, now I'm here for you. And he was basically putting together Armani and The Gap and Converse and Nike and Apple, who are the best marketers in the world. And then he was saying, I'm going to get the most creative people in the world to work for the poorest people in the world, which was, so my job, I ended up joining and helping to launch Red, right? And getting Jay-Z, and I got Kanye West to like write a rap about a Motorola phone, which was crazy. And I got, Coldplay to turn their tours red. But it was all about trying to make it, his thing was, how do we make it as easy as possible for people to take that step and start driving social change. And in many ways, you could say it worked, right? You could say we create incredible awareness for a cause of AIDS in Africa that really had almost no US awareness at the time. We raised about now almost $450 million. It was sustainable, right? It was scalable. Like Apple just turned the frickin' iPhone red. I cannot tell you how many meetings I had with people at Apple, including Steve Jobs, who at one point said, so you guys are all too young, but there was a time before the iPhone, and when the iPhone first came out, it was only silver. And then they came out with like the iPhone 3 or something, where it had a plastic back. Do you remember this? And we were like, this is it. You can make the iPhone red. And Steve looked at us and said, yeah, I had them make one. I didn't like the color. So, but so the point is that we did achieve a lot of stuff by trying to make it easy, right? And there was a moment early on where we met with Warren Buffett, and he said, we were so proud of how easy we were making it for people to drive social change. And he said, you know what? You need to make it harder. You need to allow the people to do the work. And that, I will never forget him saying that. And we were so like, no, you're crazy. But in fact, that's always stayed with me. And actually, if you kind of look at the legacy of Red, in some ways, I'm not that proud of, right? Because I feel like social media and sort of collectivism, and if I like a Facebook page, did it save someone's life? If I go to somebody's charity water birthday party, did I change the world? Like, there's a way in which we've made people feel like they're driving social change when they're not. And Kinetic is, bring it back to this point of, it's allowing people to not just do real work, but actually do real innovation, but stand on the shoulders of those around them. And that's like the real crucial thing is, so my final point is just, that's what I want us to figure out together, right? I love that everyone's doing all this work, and Katie and Jessica and Brian are doing such an amazing job of sort of building the foundation and the hub. But you know, the truly amazing thing that we would create together is the ability for everyone, for any college student, you know, when Emma arrives at Skidmore, to go, if I want to change the world, I could do it all by myself, or I could join some skilled thing. But the best way is actually to join this thing, Kinetic, which allows me to be innovative and be individual, but it contributes towards a larger, more impactful work that will last and endure beyond me. So that's my little 2 cents.
Thank you so much, Don. Now Katie is going to introduce the schools who are going to present.
Yeah, I also want to thank you so much, Don. I actually had the opportunity to meet Don at Williams while he and Emma were visiting, and it was awesome to be able to hear part of that story as well. But I'm especially excited about this call because this has a lot of different groups of people that I've been communicating with the whole year, advisors, mentors, and schools, as well as our board of directors. So thank you so much, everyone who's come to listen to our call. Unfortunately, a couple of our schools are in the middle of finals and projects and whatnot, so they're not able to attend. So we are missing our friends over in Amherst and Swarthmore, but we're going to hear from 4 different schools tonight, and they're going to tell us a little bit about some of the different things that they've been working on their campuses. So first up, we're going to hear from Williams, and this is the education team at Williams. So they will talk to us a little bit about what they've been doing. And Brian, you can change the screen over to Miaru's camera if possible.
Yep, I'll do that now.
Awesome. Oh, great.
All right.
Oh.
Mara, you're live.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks, guys. Hi, I'm Miaru. Thanks so much, Katie, Jessica, and Don, and Brian for that introduction. So I'm Miaru, and I'm here with Akil and Conrad to talk about what we've been doing at Williams called LEAP. And in a brief introduction, LEAP is a 16-lesson plan curriculum that teaches pre-professional skills to high school students in an engaging and applicable way, and that ultimately accumulates in an internship. So as a brief overview of where we've been and where we are right now, here's the timeline. We started in spring 2015 as a flex group, and our question was how to tackle brain drain in North Adams, Massachusetts, a local town where we saw students and young people were leaving and not coming back. So after doing a lot of brainstorming and talking to people about this issue, we decided to focus on education and pre-professional skills. So we had this idea and we had a smaller focus, and we wanted to learn more about what others were doing in this area. So we continued that summer with talking to more people and learning more about what else has been done in this area. So 2 partners that have been super helpful to us are the Berkshire Regional Employment Board and local guidance counselors in the region. So talking to them about specific areas that we could fill in gaps helped us write specific lesson plans for our curriculum, which we did for a year. And my colleagues will talk more about the lesson plan specifics. But in that year, we had finalized our 16 lesson plans. And in last semester, we were super excited to continue communication with Drury High School, a high school in North Adams, and finalize program logistics, such as who is going to teach the program and student participants. This semester, we're super excited to have our first pilot program at Drury High School, which Conrad will talk more about. So I'm going to hand it over to Akil, who will give more details about our curriculum.
Thanks, Miaru.
Thanks, Miaru. I'm going to be talking a little bit about our program objectives. So first of all, we're hoping to help students gain confidence and recognize their strengths, skills, and values through our curriculum with lessons that help them discover their goals and how to accomplish them. Secondly, we're trying to build a network of local businesses and speakers to help students out so that they have support and resources through their journey. We also have the students create LinkedIn profiles to connect with the other students in the class and also local businesses so that they can have a lasting way to connect with other businesses and other students. Thirdly, we're hoping to help students prepare for and apply to an internship in the local community through our curriculum lesson plan, in which they will submit an internship to a local business. Lastly, we're hoping to have an alumni group among LEAP participants who have been through the program and can eventually provide similar opportunities for other LEAP students. We hope to accomplish this so that LEAP can become a more sustaining curriculum with a lasting impact in the local community. Now moving on to our more specific overview of the LEAP curriculum itself. In the fall, we prepare the students for the skills they need for life after graduation and prepare them for a job search with an internship application submission. So the skills that we'd mainly be going over in this would be communication, networking, interviewing, resume and cover letter writing, financial literacy, and self-discovery, and also North Adams history to help them learn more about the community that they're going to be working in. In the spring, we're focusing the curriculum around an internship where they can work and gain real life job experience. And now to go more over the curriculum, we're going to transition to Conrad.
Hey, I'm Conrad. I think Miara is going to pull up the curriculum right now. Awesome. So this is our curriculum. It's 80 pages long. Again, there are 16 lessons, and there are also student handouts that have follow-up homework. We spend a lot of time on this, and we recognize that your student, like in your typical high school classroom, is not going to be, easily engaged. So we work really hard on trying to make this an interactive kind of curriculum and get the students working together in group activities and have it be as fun as possible, because we recognize that can be a difficult thing to do. So ultimately, our goal is to set up high school students with internships and jobs in the local community right after high school. And through this process, as you can see in the curriculum, we're going to be working on different skills. We have resumes and cover letters. We have LinkedIn, interview preparation. We're going to teach them kind of the basics of saving and investing. And we also even have a lesson on an elevator pitch, just in case. Definitely my favorite lesson plan is what we call the roller coaster of life. Basically, it's like the game of life, but instead of having some generic life game, we have the jobs, we have kind of the housing, everything that are real situations in the local community where these high school students live in North Adams. And they basically have to go through, and each turn is a month, and they have to deal with the monthly finances, guesstimate how much goes where. It's very, very real life, and it's basically a simulation of what life is like after high school. So our pilot program is at Drury High School. Currently, it's being taught by Mr. Jutras, and we have about 10 students in the class, and we're working through the lessons right now. Mr. Jutras is, and he's giving us feedback, and as he's giving us feedback, we're editing it and revising our curriculum to make it better. This is our first pilot year. We're hoping to start it in full next year. And right now we have planned a field trip to the local city hall to talk to government officials. Also, the Massachusetts MoCA Art Museum is in the city, and we're gonna have the students visit that and learn some about the local history. And we have this planned for May 18th.
Okay, great. So that is a brief overview of our curriculum, and we're super excited to hear more about what other Kinetic chapters are doing. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact any of us. All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miara, Akil, and Conrad. That was just really awesome. It's really great to hear about what you all have been up to. So the next team that we're going to hear from is over on the other coast. So in the University of Southern California, we have Cheryl presenting for the Homelessness Team. So Cheryl, take it away.
So actually, I'm going to be presenting for the Homelessness Team.
Okay.
Hi, Ditya.
Hi.
Do you need the screen?
I'm having a hard time becoming the presenter to try and share my screen.
Got it. Okay, I think that if you're using the internet portal, then I don't think it'll let you share the full screen. And so maybe it might be easier to talk live, or we can reorder while it loads. There we go.
Is it showing now?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect.
Also, if you're able to show your face while you're speaking, I don't know if it's possible at the same time, but if you can, that would be wonderful.
it's not allowing me to do both at the same time.
Okay,
That's
then no
fine.
worries. The presentation's more important.
Okay, so again, I'm going to be talking on behalf of the USC Homelessness Team. So I want to start off with how we, over the course of the last 2 semesters, how we went from research to design. And we started off with Skid Row. For those of you that don't know, Skid Row is this huge homelessness community in downtown Los Angeles, 10 minutes away from USC. So we thought that was a great place to start off to do our research, try and get an idea of where the issue lies and how we can tackle it from the core. So that's where we started. And then we moved on to other resources like non-profit organizations in Skid Row, because there are a lot of them that already exist and have been trying to solve the problem for years and years now. Then we also tried to speak to as many volunteer organizations at USC, professors, different volunteers, and that's how we started our research phase. So from there, as we moved on to design, and now as we look on to implementation, we have 3 main phases, or a 3-step implementation process, which is divided into self-empowerment, bridging the gap, and direct aid. So starting with self-empowerment, we realized that one of the biggest problems at the core was the youth and them not having the correct resources to get off the road, or to find themselves a way. So we realized that education and mentorship are 2 really important things that they require at such a young age. Also, from talking to other people we realized that drug addiction and abuse is one of the major and one of the actually biggest problems that take people to where they to where they go. And a majority of the people on Skid Row are there because of some kind of drug abuse problem. So I think that by by having people come and talk to them directly about their personal stories of how people went through an entire phase of drug addiction and how they got off that, just personal stories like that. If people can come and talk to young the youth today, I think that's a great way of empowering them and teaching them how to best go forward. So that was our first campaign. The second is bridging the gap. So another thing that through our research we realized was that there are a lot of volunteers around here, especially at USC, that are looking for volunteer opportunities, especially different student groups and organizations that need service requirements and want to have people do service. And on the other side of the spectrum, there's also a bunch of different organizations that require volunteers. But it's we found that many times it's hard for the two to connect with each other, and for the volunteers to find organizations and for the organizations to find volunteers. So we got in touch with 2 organizations, Chrysalis and Union Rescue Mission. Chrysalis was actually through a professor at USC who founded Chrysalis and was a CEO over there for a long time. So we got in touch with him and got through to the organization. And we are trying to become the middleman and trying to set up a platform where students at USC or anywhere in LA can come to Kinetic, and we can then take them to these organizations that require volunteers. And the final campaign that we had was direct aid. So one thing that we found out from talking to these organizations was that there have been a lot of families that keep spiraling down. And by this, what they meant was that once they go into a homelessness problem, it's very difficult for them to recover. And there have been many families that have been homeless for years and years, even though they try their best to come off. It's just very difficult for them. So we thought of creating a direct support campaign where we take one family at a time and support them through different resources. And even though we didn't want to start off with this, we kind of did go towards uh, trying to raise money for them, because I thought we thought as a team that this was a great way to build credibility for the family, so that they can trust us for future references. So this semester we started off by raising around $850 for one family. And this is one thing that we hope to continue every semester, where we try to get one family off the road by directly supporting them with money and mentorship. So yes, that's it from my side. Thank you so much, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for presenting. That was awesome. Okay, so our third group that's going to be presenting is our group from NYU. So Madeline is going to be talking to us a little bit about her experience running the homelessness team there.
Okay, can you see me?
Yeah,
I think so.
That's perfect.
Hi, so I'm going to be presenting for Kinetic at NYU. So I'm going to talk about what we did. We actually started in London last semester, so I'm going to talk about what we did in London and sort of like the transition of transitioning the team back to New York and how sort of challenging that has been. So we started in London last semester, and we really wanted to do a project that would evolve around the refugee crisis, because students were there and sort of wanted to participate in something that was European and sort of would contribute to like their cultural experience studying abroad. And so we found that there was a lack of trying to sort of partner local supermarkets to this NGO called Help Refugees, which is a UK organization that distributes food throughout Europe to different refugee camps. And so we connected this local supermarket called the People Supermarket to this NGO called Help Refugees UK to sort of distribute food throughout Europe. And I think what was really good in London is that we really had a time frame of like, we know we're just here for 4 months, so we need to get something off the ground and like really have it be sustainable before we leave, because then we're all going home and then it sort of has to stay there. But like, so it was actually really good to have that time constraint of knowing, okay, we just have 4 months and it has to like be off the ground. And I think that is the main challenge we face in New York, is that it's such a bigger campus and it's so much on a wider scale that suddenly suddenly you feel like you have so much more time because you're not just here for a semester. So I think one of the challenges we've had now is sort of trying to recruit out of 26,000 undergrads, whereas in London we were just 500 and people were very enthusiastic about getting involved in something that evolved around the refugee crisis. And so for now what we've done is that we've just been recruiting in New York, and we now have a team set up, and we're researching homelessness specifically because that's one of the biggest issues in New York that we've identified. And we still have our team in London that of course can never join the calls because it's 2 a.m. there right now or even later. But they are still working on the refugee project, and they're trying to connect to more local supermarkets to distribute even more food across Europe. And they actually also organized a trip to Greece to go volunteer in the refugee camp that was in March. So that's sort of what's happening in London, and we are currently researching homelessness here in New York and have just finished recruiting. Yeah, so that's it for NYU Kinetic.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, Madeline. So now we can say that Kinetic is international because we have our team out over in London. That's great, though. Thanks so much, Madeline. So our last group that's going to be presenting is from UPenn. So Damien is going to be presenting for them.
Hi, can you see and hear me?
We can hear you. We can.
Awesome. Is there any way that you guys could share the screen or put me on the screen sharing thing?
Yep, just send it over right now.
There we go. Alrighty. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So we started this year at Penn, our Kinetic chapter. So this is our first year doing anything. And it was kind of tough the first semester to bang out all the logistics. We had to find a place to meet and gather people and figure out what kind of projects we were going to be doing and stuff like that. What we ended up doing was we tried a number of different things, but what ended up being like the project that we worked on was a tampon drive for local women's shelters, which is still going on and was pretty successful. But that was kind of like, once we set it up, we just let it ride. So for the second semester, we were looking at different projects to start, and one of the things that we thought of was a something that is called a dump and run. At some schools, like I know Cornell does it, which is what we were going to base ours off of. At Move Out, a lot of freshmen and a lot of seniors tend to kind of just leave their stuff because everyone's trying to get rid of everything, and it turns into like a big pile of trash. So what Cornell does is collects it all and then sells it at like a yard sale type of thing at the beginning of the following year, because then you have a whole new group of students coming in who are looking for the items that the students the previous year just left. So we looked into that, and it turned out that Penn already does something like that, but it's kind of more low key. And we talked to them about collaborating on it, but they weren't really into like letting us into their system. So we decided to shift our focus to a secondhand store, which would not only be something that happened at the end of the year and the beginning of the year, but would kind of happen year round. And so we had a few meetings with different offices here on campus to try and see who's willing to help us along, give us some advice, stuff like that. And what ended up happening is that we met with like the sustainability office, which is called Green Campus Partnership here. And they basically told us that it was a great idea, but that we were going to have a hard time finding space. There's another organization on campus that's called Penn Student Agencies, where there are like basically students pitch business ideas to Penn Student Agencies, and then Penn Student Agencies kind of helps them carry them out. So like for instance, we had a bike shop here on campus, which is run through that, and there's like a cafe, a student-run cafe, which is the same kind of thing. So we met with them, we pitched to them, and they liked the idea, and they decided to sponsor us. So I'm going to show you guys the presentation that we gave them, just as like kind of a show you what we were thinking, what we're doing. So we were kind of pitching the idea of sustainability and how, there are a lot of people here who are going to go on to do influential things and make influential decisions. And by kind of ingraining the culture of reuse and sustainability in their minds, we can help kind of create that cultural shift to a like mindset of reuse. And here's just like our little summary of the store's mission. And yeah, again, the same kind of thing I was saying. So here in Philly, there's a Facebook page called Free and for Sale at Penn, which we looked at to kind of gauge the market for reused goods that exists. And there are a lot of transactions that occur on there. So we were kind of that was our market analysis to show that there is existing infrastructure for reuse, and we're trying to kind of put that into a physical location that's a little bit more convenient and it's a little bit more accessible to everybody. So one of the things that we based ours off of is the Clark Community Thrift Store, which is basically the same kind of store as we're looking at. That's happening in, I think, Clark College. I'm not exactly sure, but basically they have a store and they have their numbers published, and we kind of extrapolated from that to get our cost estimates and stuff like that. And here again, talking about the market that exists for reuse and reusability. Yeah, and so we're right now, what ended up happening is we got approved. We need funding, which we're applying for through the Green Campus Partnership, the campus's sustainability organization. They have a lot of grant money to give out. So we're hopefully, we're applying at the end of this month and hopefully going to know by the middle of summer, because that will determine what, you know, kind of infrastructure we're going to be able to have at the beginning. But we got permission to do a pilot store next year. We have a space that was given to us. This is pretty much in the center of campus, which is free. We have free rent for a year through Penn student agencies. And we're right now collecting donations because we obviously don't have any money right now to start with. So everyone's kind of running around and texting all their friends, sending out messages to other groups on campus, trying to pool donations. But and we're gonna go through that stuff over the summer a little bit, and then a lot at the beginning of next school year, and kind of sell everything everything that we can the first few weeks of school next year to get some revenue, get off the ground. And here again, we're talking about grant funding. Here's our estimated revenues extrapolating from Clark's store, and that's about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you all so much for presenting. All of these presentations were incredible. I'm so blown away by the incredible things that you all have been doing. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you all again for coming and listening to everyone present, and Brian's going to take it away now.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. So I'm going to close with a few announcements and kind of talk through some details about next year and next steps. But before I go into that, I just want to say thank you to all the teams that presented tonight, and the ones that are unable to join us on the call but maybe listening at a later date. Just thank you. It's an inspiration to see all the hard work you guys have been doing. And that's why we do it. Kinetic at its core is about its teams, the impact that you guys are having. And so it's super exciting to see all that come to life. Round of applause for you guys. On that same note, we're kind of pivoting towards thinking about next year and how we can better support teams across the network. And so we'll be sending out a survey coming up, just seeing how the year went. Is there anything that we can do to better support you guys? And with that, we'll also be collecting kind of an end of year update to see how things ended up for the year for schools that are continuing on. Maybe you have one meeting left, just kind of get a sense of how things are going. So I just want to say that hats off to all the teams. It's super, super exciting to see. Our second announcement is about a new member joining the Kinetic Global team. She's unable to join us tonight on this call because she's on a plane right now. But Catherine Parker will be joining us as the director of the mentor community. And so she's a veteran Kinetic member and super, super excited to have her joining the team. Her role will have a couple aspects, but at its core will be facilitating the mentor community and engaging teams across campuses and help build that network that Dawn talked a little bit about earlier in the call. So she had a few words she wanted me to share with you guys, just to say that her favorite part of being in Kinetic for years was to connect with people with different perspectives and backgrounds and just be inspired and motivated by the people that she got to know. And so that's why she's really excited about getting to know everyone on this call and across the community going forward. So just wanted to give that precursor. And in that same realm, she'll be managing Kinetic's Instagram account going forward. So we're getting on social media. We will be live soon. If you have any exciting photos of your projects in action or some really cool sticky notes on the wall during a brainstorming session, please send that our way. You can send that to general@kineticglobal.org or to any one of us, and we'll make sure you guys get your recognition as deserved. So that's part of the exciting news. On the same note of the Kinetic Global team announcements, I want to give a huge thank you to Katie Swope for just an awesome year as program coordinator. Thanks for, I think everyone on this call would second and triple and fourth those words. What we have accomplished this year would not have been possible without you, Katie.
Oh, thanks.
And so just, I'm personally very grateful. And from what we can see on the chat right now, I think all the team members and board members would agree.
Absolutely.
Well,
Totally.
So on that note, we are sad that Katie Swope will be leaving us next year for new and exciting adventures. So we are in the process of looking for a program coordinator for the following year. And so we are distributing a job description right now. But if you are interested in a possibility of facilitating the network in that way, please do reach out to us, and we'll be in touch. We'll send out emails at the end of the call for everyone.
Big shoes to fill.
Huge shoes. Don't be intimidated though. Do reach out. And then
great momentum to leverage, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you reach out soon, then you can work with Katie as we wrap up this year and have a great transition and get to know her even better, which would be a huge benefit, in my opinion. So on that same note, Kinetic Global is having 2 to 3 summer interns, and we have some really exciting projects we're driving towards, and they range from working on our website in a few different ways, either in a technical or content capacity, to working on our annual report and kind of sharing the work that we're doing with the broader community. So those we're flexible on the structure and timing. They can be remote, they can be part-time, but those descriptions will be sent out shortly as well. So if that's something that you might be interested in, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'd love to have that conversation. And then lastly, on the announcements piece, we are always in conversation and looking into new campuses. And so for next year, we're actively looking for campuses to join the network. If you have a friend at another school that you just have been thinking that they would be a great addition to the network, they would love this, send them our way. We'd love to support them and bring them into the fold and kind of seeing where we can take this and continue to build out that support across the system, kind of going back to what Don had mentioned at the beginning of the call. So with any of those things, you can either send us a note through our website at kineticglobal.org, or feel free to send any one of us a note directly. My email is brian.jones@kineticglobal.org. And so we're always happy to hear from ideas about what else we can be doing together. So made it to wrap up again, say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our board that's on the call. Thank you to our advisors on the call, and all of our team members. It's been a really incredible year, and we are only more excited about where we could be going next year. And we view this as a snowball effect. It just builds on itself in the best of ways. And so let's keep this momentum going and see where we can go.
Really impressive, everybody. I'm really grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. You guys are awesome.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Have a great evening.
All right, you too. Good night.
Good night.